Yes, thank you, Trace. Thank you, gentlemen of the desk. G2 taking AVANGAR. And neither of these teams feel like they've really met expectations coming into this major so far, Vince.
I think that's very fair to say. I mean, you could also spin it another way that G2 have been a bit of a disappointment for a while. Their roster has definitely had a bit of a fall from grace compared to where you'd expect them to be. But I think still, when you look at the likes of Kenny and Shox, you have to at least feel like these two players can really bring something unique and special to the table.
Well, they certainly can. The question is, will they? Because we've still been having to ask those questions for some time. Have we seen them? But here we are. I mean, at the major, you don't have a whole lot of time to kind of fix things and get back into playing shape. It's got to be now. And AVANGAR in the pistol round. Look at Shox, though. He's going to investigate. He's pretty aggressive, and there's actually a pretty big lean from G2 towards Fountain, towards Party. And with no information, with no noise, Shox might start getting curious. Contact play towards the B bomb site, and its body playing far back. It's going to be a retake strategy. G2 is going to have their work cut out for him. This is going to be a free plant. Body just hoping to pick off one coming up sandbags, but it's going to be a 5-on-5, no HP loss. And G2 has to retake. There is a player watching the flank in the underpass, though.
The worrying thing here, though, Moses, is they're retaking with no kit. They only have a flashbang to play with, and Krisen's going to get the drop on one, maybe two. Not quite, but a 3-on-3 without the kit is going to be very difficult for G2 to get a grasp on, especially as they've just lost body from Fitch. Leaving Shox to try and push through Monster. He's going to very much feel the same fate. And Lucky has little to no chance of getting anything done, so he's just going to peace out of there. AVANGAR have done it. That was a very strange tactic, though, from G2, looking for a retake, but didn't really have enough utility or kits or anything to deal with it.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're letting so many players get into the bomb site and get all across the map and feel comfortable in a post plant, you could just see every single step they took, they had to find someone in a very awkward corner. First the player in underpass who was a 1-for-1 trade, then the player in water who was a 1-for-1 trade, and you're just losing way too much before you even get to the bomb site, before you even have a chance to defuse. AVANGAR takes that first pistol round.
Have a 2 MAC-10s for the farming frenzy that should be coming up. Only one Kevlar in the hands of Lucky and some upgraded pistols. So the MAC-10s, you'd have to feel are going to get quite a bit of value out of this round. If they do push together, of course, you don't want to divide and conquer from AVANGAR's perspective. Want to take this one slowly. Krisen, though, with the expendable. SMG pushes in first. He is alone, though. Rest of his team playing very passive back towards Fountain.
Just some investigation, feeling things out. There's the MAC-10 that's going to start being more and more aggressive. Not a whole big risk if you lose that gun. The upgraded pistols, the smokes designed to stall these teams out, not doing a whole lot. Jack's just looking for information, jumping over, and he might actually be able to find something. There's one, but his teammates are falling, and this is the tough part. The smokes haven't even been used. There's still 3 in the hands, and you've already lost too many players. The smokes are designed to prevent these kinds of losses early on in the round and force AVANGAR into an awkward late round execute through the smokes. Can't even be put down properly.
Still Desert Eagles and the P250 in play, so if AVANGAR get a bit too aggressive, a bit too cocky, they could get punished, but now Krisen is going to continue to push the aggression on B, clearing this out, realizing, okay, it's pretty much empty.
Now, there's not too much danger for AVANGAR, but it could be a dicey situation. Look at the time on the clock, and even though he has the B bomb site, the bomb is way out towards long, so, I mean, it's a great play from Krisen. But it's kind of an interesting way to do this with the bomb not even able to readjust across the map. Now he has to kind of turn into a flanker. 10 seconds on the clock. There's a chance here, a very small chance for G2 to stop the plant, but Shox is too far away. His body goes down. So AVANGAR almost played themselves, almost played it too slow. They've just lost the MAC-10s though, so no big deal so far.
Sure, and Shox could still do some damage as well. If he gets another kill, that means that they're definitely going to have lost at least one rifle. Already with 3 flags to his name, narrowly missing out on the 4th, does actually get it onto Jane. So that is significant. 3 kills and an AK have been burnt away. And now G2 will have a full buy-in effect, including... Actually, I say that, they're on this strange precipice of maybe not going for a buy. In fact, maybe just pistols instead. I was getting too far ahead of myself there. I saw Shox had 4.4k, but I think it is just going to be pistols again, just a few deagles here and there. So if they can have the same kind of result again, then in the next round when they do have the likes of AWPs and a bunch of assault rifles, things could get quite sketchy for AVANGAR.
We'll see. That's obviously what they'd like. Krisen with another opening kill with that MAC-10. He's going to not be able to follow it up, but some fine nade work from Fitch. Still keeps AVANGAR with an advantage. Still one more MAC-10 they can burn if they want to investigate things, if they're not quite sure where they want to go. All three players of G2 pretty centralized. Kenny S, if he finds the right timing here. Oh, that's a great flashbang. Actually, it creates the timing for him. That's pretty nice from G2. Nothing to really fight with to be able to turn this round in their favor, but Jame will be able to drop the MAC-10 and salvage the AK-47 that's on the floor. Nice round from AVANGAR, limiting the damage they've taken in these past 12, but Jame actually doesn't do it. Jame actually still has the MAC-10. So they do lose an AK-47, but not the biggest deal in the world.
However, this is the main course now. G2 going to have the AWP in the hands of Kenny, who had a couple of very good performances yesterday. We were casting on him on Cash, dropped over 30 kills. Joined by 3 M4s and an AWP. And as you highlighted before, Moses, James still has that MAC-10. Assuming perhaps that a few of these CTs haven't upgraded to head armor, which would be the case, Kenny, Jax, and Body all missing out on it. Quicker rapidly gets into the B short side, joined alongside by Fitch. So already some real estate being assumed by AVANGAR, already 3-0 in the lead.
Kenny with that AWP, this is the guy you'd expect to create something. Shox has had a tough time so far in this major, but Kenny's had a couple good games. Certainly a good performance in their opener. He's going to have a chance here. There's a swing right into his crosshair. That's too easy for Kenny. AVANGAR loses one, no chance of a trade, although Kenny's got a long way to fall back, and no one's covering him, but there's that MAC-10 that was not swapped out for an AK-47 last round. That could have been a chance to pick off Kenny as he retreated. And Jax is going to fill the gap of where Kenny was, so that might catch AVANGAR off guard later in the round.
Yeah, Jax could very much be the linchpin.
Well, AVANGAR saw Kenny fall back, right? So they might not realize there's still one in there, so that could be a pretty tricky wrinkle in this defense that AVANGAR's not ready for. But through Monster we go. Body's going to get the opening kill.
I was about to say, which could put Jax in an even better position, but Quicker was checking. Wanted to make doubly sure that Connector wouldn't be a thorn in their side. 24 seconds though, AVANGAR, not for the first time, letting this get way too close for comfort. Whereas last time it was against pistols, this time way more weapons, but Fitch has picked up the opener on Monster, and his second onto Lucky. Had no right to double up with a second frag there. 9 seconds left. They will have enough time to plant the bomb, but Shox is going to come in and try and deny this. Isn't able to stop the bomb. Planting Fitch answers back with his third of the round. It's all on Kenny. Started the round off with G2. He's going to have to end it. He's going to be moving in, switching across to the M4. He doesn't have a kit and no grenades. You would say it fancies Fitch and he's going to get a 4K. Oh, Lucky is going to be face palming so hard. He should have had that kill on Fitch. That's unbelievable. That was, what, a 2v4?
It's going to be frustrating for Shox as well, who's able to take out the support of the planter, but not able to convert on the follow-up frag. That is a round you should not be losing if you're G2, and that one hurts. First gun round, you had essentially 2 saves. I mean, the buy-up in the second round with the Deagles. After that, they kind of stayed passive so they could have full utility right in the first gun round, and it doesn't pan out for them. Great round from Fitch. That control of the spray is beautiful, and you're right. Lucky probably should have had that one, so Shox should have had that. And Fitch has a beautiful performance, 127 ADR. Really nicely done.
Yeah, going back to that Lucky play. Had the AUG as well, so he even had the scoped weapon, trying to land the headshot instantly as soon as he pushed his Monster.
Probably felt so confident with that scope in. He was like, yeah, the AUG is strong, baby. Gets wrecked by Fitch. So good start for AVANGAR on their T side. 4 rounds already, and a tough buy coming up for G2. They do drop down to the Fama so they can have utility. Shock's going to go for the AWP, not passed over to Kenny. It's a glass cannon. We'll see what he's got.
Real rough buy though from Asses alongside it, no kits.
The kind of interesting thing about this buy though, it could catch AVANGAR off guard. Now, you'd hope that they're kind of paying attention enough and realize there was that double save to kind of start, which is new with the economy system these days. So that should give them more money even after that loss. So there's a chance AVANGAR expects this.
And a good sign was when G2 were in that pistol round. They played it very slowly. They took their sweet time. They had Quicket going up towards B. Rest of the team funneling pretty much in identical positions to now around Fountain and the backside of Connector. Shocks. That pretty much gives it away now, though. The AWP being in play, they know they're definitely buying behind this. You don't just pick an AWP up and the rest of the players filter through with pistols.
No, but this is a very slow-paced T-side. Just past 1 minute, AVANGAR really hasn't even moved across the map, and we've seen a couple times it's gotten a bit sketchy. That gun round, one of the previous save rounds as well. They still have a lot of map to clear out before they can get to a bomb site, and not a whole lot of time to do it. And these weapons are going to be able to mount some kind of resistance. That'd be a great kill to have if you're Kaikert. Oh, he does the damage, but can't find the head of Kenny, who's down low. He's got to retreat. Smoke to cover off the underpass, and there's Shocks with the AWP out towards long, and now it's a scary situation for AVANGAR. 25 seconds left in a 3 versus 5.
However, AVANGAR did win a round in a very similar position to this just previously, and Crism has started off with 1. Kenny's got to be very careful on just a couple of HP, but he will stand tall, and that should be the round done. 8 seconds left, no chance for AVANGAR to get anything done. Make sure that they just save these AKs, don't want to die after time, and ruin their own funds. So G2 are going to win their first round, but again, a little bit too close. They do keep 4 players, though, as well, Moses. That's going to be great for their economy going forward. No, that's exactly what they needed after that kind of heartbreak in the previous round, so it stalls out. And this is interesting, because AVANGAR's not playing as aggressively as I would have expected to see them. Nice shooting from Shocks. He missed that initial shot. And just so many little traps set up. And AVANGAR is going to have to really figure this out. They're going to have to take this option away from G2, because this is multiple rounds now where G2's been able to push into that staircase and pretty much camp out there for the whole round. AVANGAR has to make sure that they cannot feel comfortable taking those stairs round in, round out. That's so much information that establishes very fast rotations between the bomb sites for the CT side. It's a really valuable piece of real estate on overpass that G2's been able to control for free. This round, no presence in Connector. But AVANGAR again, slowly lumbering their way through. They do have Q-Kurt in the T side of Connector. And James has found Kenny S. Boosted up. Again, they're going to get the opening pick. That's
a 2-for-1 as well, because he knows he has the information. That was a boost up, so James saying there was too long. So they now know where 2 players of G2 were. That can start to put together this puzzle, and this is much more aggressive. Look how close they are to this A-bomb site now with the minute remaining. This is much faster than the previous rounds, applying some of the pressure, and G2's already starting to run out of utility. 2 nades on Lucky, 2 nades on Body. And it's just the Opera here, still G2. They have that stack over towards the B bomb site, so Jax is the only one defending A. This is pretty scary. That's a lot of faith to have in Jax.
I think this may also be a bit of a roll of the dice too, Moses, just hoping for the best. If they go B, they're walking into a bit of a trap. Jax jumping to and fro, now going to get the information. They need to rapidly rotate up through the backside. Jax going to hold the line for 2. That could be good enough. It puts us into a 3-on-3. There is going to be enough time for a bomb plant, but can G2 retake?
It's going to be so tough, again, without a whole lot of utility. Just the one smoke that's safe for the bomb, but that's a beautiful pickup. Oh, but Kai30 responds from Optimus. Now looking towards Bank. Beautiful headshot. It's all unlucky. 1 versus 2. Finds one around the edge of the smoke, but it's got to fade before he can move in. And Buster is waiting in Bank. Does Lucky realize he's got to know that push is a possibility? Spots it out, but an immediate headshot from Buster, and G2 is forced back.
Some last-ditch heroics from Jax, but it wasn't enough. And as a result, their economy is really in terrible shape. 2 players at $1,400. Here is the play from Q-Kurt. 2 frags. The second one into Bank was huge, and then Buster, of course, cleaned up the rest. So G2, they're on the ropes on their CT side of Overpass.
Very early as well. That happened fast. That's a pretty harsh reset, and you can see they know it as well. They're going to force up, but it's not looking good. All gone Lucky. Famas on Shocks. Pistols for the rest. 5-1 for AVANGAR, and losing this would be a double save afterwards as well. So, I mean, this is a real big chance. If AVANGAR can take this round, they can slingshot this into a pretty solid lead.
So G2, with their lack of weaponry, going to take the initiative and try and push. See if they can catch AVANGAR with their hands down, and Crism is going to be avenged by Kuka at the backside of Monster, making sure he doesn't get his hands on the AK-47.
Still the rifles are up for G2, so it's not the worst spot to be in. And again, one more time, controlling this real estate, controlling the staircase. And they're going to get aggressive. They want to go find some information. Look how passive AVANGAR is playing in this round now. A little bit more aggressive in the last one, but this is back to that slow pace style. They actually line up for Buster. He's going to get a couple easy kills. That flashbang not nearly as effective. And still the rifles haven't been able to get involved. The pistols, the weaker weapons, have been the ones taking point. They're still on T-spawn, Vince.
They are. They're taking it slow again.
This is the kind of play, if you play against a team in matchmaking and they're doing this, you're tilted. On round 7, you're like, they're still in T-spawn.
That's pretty much how it feels playing Inferno every time. T-steps all around the course. Lucky, he did have a bit of a whiff earlier. Can he make amends? Tries his best, but Flash and the Molotov's always going to be a difficult situation to contend with. And now Shox does get the opening in a 1-on-3, but he's been tagged down to 8 and finished off by James. And AVANGAR, they have done it. They've completely repelled the force spike. G2, they're in dire shape. Should we be looking at a timeout soon, just to try and recollect their thoughts a little bit?
I would imagine, yeah, they're going to use one right now, which I guess, yeah, this is a bit tough for them. Talking things over, looking at the money, thinking of what they can do in the next round, as that losing bonus is going to start building up. Likely talking about what they're seeing across the map, but you better hope they figure it out during this timeout, because already with a solid lead, 6-1 AVANGAR, and a great chance to bring it up to 7-1. That's enough T rounds in this half already.
It definitely is, and you have to feel there's going to be a bunch more. G2 have done nothing to make you trust and believe that they can actually bring this back. Has been pretty straightforward. You can see there, Buster, 7-3, 93.4 ADR. Has been pretty damn strong. USPs, P2000s, absolutely no investment at all into the round from G2, as expected. And they are going to go for a stack on Connector, and B, hope for the best. Prison again, very much reminiscent of the second round with the MAC-10, going to go onto the short side. How many kills can he muster? Not really required, but Jax at least has got himself one before G2 get plastered once again. 7-1 now to AVANGAR.
And a lot of money in the bank behind him as well. James at 7,000, Fitch at 6,400. This is nice. If you're AVANGAR, this is all going according to plan. This is perfect. And still not even going to be a great buy for the G2 side of things. Plenty of rifles, but, you know, Kenny's had to drop down to the FAMAS. We've only seen him with the AWP once. Shox had the op another round. Shox is going to have an AUG with no utility. Decent amount of nades overall for G2. I think the 4 smokes really helps that out, even though it's not high on the nade count overall. You can make something happen here, but James is ready. They want to get aggressive. They tried to catch AVANGAR off guard. But this goes back to that slow pace that AVANGAR has had pretty much every single round but one. They're playing so far back, just waiting for this kind of aggression, and it's punishing G2. They don't know how to get around it.
I'd love to see the stat for first kill. I feel like AVANGAR have got the first kill in pretty much every single round.
I think there's the only one that I can recall would be that Kenny with the op in the staircase getting that first kill. And they did end up losing that round anyway. So yeah, it's not been great for G2.
Which is especially brutal when you consider they have a lack of nades, they have a lack of firepower with the FAMAS, only one kit. The worst case scenario is to lose a player in the first 10-15 seconds, because instantly that just puts your entire CT side in shambles once again.
And Jax was one of the players that had nades. He goes down without using them as he gets aggressive out towards long, so that takes away one of the smokes they could have had.
Their last smokes have just been used. 40 seconds on the clock, and now it seems AVANGAR posturing, waiting for their opportunity to strike on B.
The nice thing for AVANGAR about having this lead for so long is as they slowly walk across the map, not making noise, there's no indication of where they're going to end up. The nice with Shox being so aggressive, though, he has somewhat of an idea. 3 players at the B bomb site stacked up for the defense. Good opening kill from Body. On this hit, he's going to spin, but it's not able to work. The rest of his teammates are backing him up. It's a 2-on-3, and Shox has just arrived. James got to just fall away with the AWP. Not a great chance of winning this, so he just wants to save the money, save the valuable weapon, and likewise, G2 do not want to chase.
Yeah, both teams will be relatively happy holding on to the weapons they currently possess. As Fitch is down to 2.9k, Krisen 3.8, so James can now drop a gun or two across. and get another healthy buy. That will be G2 holding, which was pretty impressive, all things considered. It did look like it could slip away again. But Lucky in particular holding on from the barrels. And another timeout has been called.
Good hold from G2. They really, really needed this. So on the board, but now it comes... Remember, the first time they won around, they couldn't string two together, so they were immediately reset. They cannot let that happen now. They need to string these together. Interestingly enough as well, both of the rounds they've won have been round timeouts. Now that one, they straight up won the fight when AVANGAR actually attacked, so James just had to back away, but 2 wins by the timer.
Desperately need to string more than one together, though, if they're going to start to mount somewhat of a comeback on this half. Even if they did go clean sweep from now on, it would be 8-7, which is... I mean,
not great.
Would have bitten your hand off if you'd offered that to them beforehand.
I mean, if they even get to 8-7, though, it would feel good that they were able to go on some kind of a run to end the half. The scoreline wouldn't look great visually, but I think G2 mentally, that would be actually huge for them.
Sort of a momentum-wise.
Yes.
Pretty solid, yeah.
Here we go again. Slow pace from AVANGAR. They did take control of water very, very fast this round. Kaikert's got to be trouble. If they open that door, I don't know if he's going to react fast enough. And he actually got scared from his teammates' spam through the walls. Ooh, look at this boost. He's going to find an easy kill. Shox just taps away. 10 kills for him. We've all wanted to see a resurgence from Shox. Getting a pretty solid performance in this map.
4 players in connector from G2.
I guess it's like the only place on the map that they've been able to control safely.
But you can see at the top there, Buster is making a move to the A site, and he's getting so much information. He doesn't have the bomb under his control.
The nice thing is, you'd think that they would bring the bomb back towards the A bomb site when he clears it out, but they could actually use him to flank B and just kill the one defender. I don't know how G2 doesn't realize this is a possibility. If you have 4 players in that connector for so long, no one spotted this. Body's going to be a free kill. And then the B bomb site is open, and then all of a sudden G2, they've all fallen back towards A, so there's no real great rotation within here. This is an interesting round, and Buster taking his time with it straight down. He even drops into the water, and now G2 knows what's up.
Just making sure the second player didn't show that hand.
Oh dear. Oh my god.
But what is that plan? Oh, I can actually see you physically wincing watching that go down. Fortunately, they have got the kill plus the bomb plant, but it is a 3-on-3 retake with Jane very low. No nades at their disposal for G2. It's going to have to be Raw, and Lucky is now one of only 2 remaining CT players. Joined alongside Shox, has to flick down. Buster's going to get the better of him. And this 4-player stack, which started well with Shox's boosted kill, has gone horribly sour.
It's just so much manpower to have in one part of the map, and you lose so much on the information game that even with the kills they have, it's not a great advantage. That flank from Buster was just massive. Free entrance into that B bomb site, and yeah, the Jane plant looked really, really crazy out in the open in that fashion, but remember, Buster just came from there. They have no idea that there were 4 players in the staircase. They had to know there were 2 because of the boost to get the kill from Shox. A strange round when and each team probably didn't necessarily know where the next point of attack or the rotations were going to come from, just AVANGAR coming out on top.
And again, G2 strike, but then fall instantly afterwards, which plays hell with their money. They are back to being flat out broke. Here's the Buster play once again.
That's the other side of it. What a round to go for a risky 4-man stack in the staircase when, you know, your entire economy's on the line. Again, they're just forced into a bye because they need rounds and they need to at least be able to fight for them. So 2 SMGs, upgraded pistols on 2 players. Lucky still has an AK-47 from the previous round that he saved. This time for G2, it's a 4-man stack towards the B bomb site. 1 defender at A. It's going to be Kenny with that SMG. Spots 1. That should allow for a rotation back. Remember, in a previous round, actually, I was going to pick up the pace. They didn't even want the rotation to come in. And yeah, Kenny, no clue that they let go of the walk key, and G2 can't fight for this. They're not even going to go for it. This is very questionable CT side. If you're going to do this many 4-man stacks on your defense, it just feels like desperation.
Yeah.
Like you can't read the game, you don't know what's happening, you don't know what they're doing across the map, and you're just trying to go for some kind of a random gamble that they'll walk into.
I feel like teams that are confident may do it one time, but if you're doing it every single time, it does seem like you don't have full confidence in your ability to hold with standard positions with lower weaponry. So maybe a bit of insight to G2 there. But also, Kenny's holding A by himself with an MP9 in a position where you have to check long and also short simultaneously.
Yeah, you might as well put the AK there.
I was thinking this while I was watching it, because if Kenny spots someone long, what can he feasibly do?
Well, I mean, we saw exactly what happened. Kenny jumps up, he gets the information, he saw two players, and he was just like, I only have an SMG. I don't want to take this fight. I want to fall back and use a Molotov to try and slow things down. And because of that, he doesn't get the follow-up information that they're actually just picking up the pace.
Plus, you know they're going to have Kevlar, and the AK has the one-tap potential, so you surely want the most powerful weapon at your disposal with the one player by himself. But either way, that's all in the past. They've got to focus on the future and now, and that's going to be another timeout. They've already used 3 of them, and we're only moving into round 12. In terms of their finances, they have gone for another force. Pure desperation to get rounds on the board right here, right now, but it's going to be an MP9 for Body, MP5 for Kenny S. Shocks for the CZ, and seemingly Jax is going to have himself a Desert Eagle.
Well, G2 fans cannot be feeling good about this game so far. 9-2 in the favor of AVANGAR. You still do not have a goodbye. The 4 players did save. Kenny has reinvested, which is going to keep an op out of his hands in the next round.
Yeah.
Unless they can grab James op somehow.
Yeah, it's that Kenny force that worries me a little bit, and again, similar to what we said last time,
It's the exact same setup.
It's deja vu. It's actually deja vu. This time it's an MP5 rather than MP9, but it will be the same result if they push him.
We saw this, I think, that Molotov yesterday when we watched G2 play, except they threw that Molotov and then they had a timed flashbang over it to get aggressive, to kind of see if they could force a player out of that position and get an easy pick. This time they don't go for the aggression, and indeed they're starting to rotate back towards the A bomb site. But it's an SMG on Kenny and a CZ on Shocks to defend. Jax now starting to rotate back with that Deagle. Bomb still on the B side of the map, basically back towards T-spawn. So Krizen, I would imagine, would go meet up with his teammates.
Centralized defense on the bathroom side. Shock's going to be taking point with the CZ. 30 seconds left, and AVANGAR will be punished. 2 CZ frags by Shocks. 1 magazine is going to yield 2, and Kenny S with his MP5 is going to strike. This time he does have backup. Buster tries his absolute best to get something rolling, but is only good for the 1 kill, leaving James in a potential save again. We've seen him do it earlier.
They have players there that they can chase him down if they want, because they can have the flank. But again, it's such a scary proposition for G2 that's had money problems this entire half. You don't want to lose anyone to this, even if you want to get the op out of his hands, even if you maybe want to salvage it for Kenny. You don't want to risk losing too much. Now, they have players who can drop an op over if they'd like to go that route. And indeed they will. It's lucky to drop the op over to Kenny. Nice round from Shocks, 2 kills, a great pop flash. Completely blind is Fitch and Kaikert, and even Krizen not able to handle the spray from Kenny at long range. And they're all able to rotate over this time. No pickup of the pace of AVANGAR. Good rotation back from G2 to get their 3rd.
Molotov down, not quite on the steps though, so AVANGAR will not be stopped pushing into playground and balloons. Buster here already. G2 though haven't pushed, almost in similar, identical positions as Shocks was last round.
Oh, Kenny be in trouble here? Oh, he does get Kenny. That is unfortunate. Jax trades out the kill immediately, but they would have liked to have prevented Kenny from going down, obviously. That was a very fast play from Buster, though, all things considered in the context of this half, how slow they've been going this whole time. They haven't really had to deal with anyone being at bathrooms that quick into the round. And now Krizen just going for a contact play. He bumps it, Molotov out. Lucky's not ready for it. He follows it up. Body gets blind. And again, it looks like G2, they just can't catch a break. They cannot string rounds together. Immediately after a win for the third time this half, they're going to get reset. At least they still have the op.
Going to desperately battle tooth and nail to hold on to the AWP and the AK, but yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. G2 have just got nothing in terms of momentum going their way. They pick up a round, instantly get battered. And it's Krizen's 2 entries that really made the difference. Shox has lost his AK and his armor. A brutal gut punch. Doesn't seem like anyone's going to be able to get the upper hand on Jax for the time being, so he might be able to hold on to this, which would be a little bit of a power play, but it could be too little too late. First, because it looks like Jax is going to get caught, and secondly, because AVANGAR on their T side have already picked up 10 rounds.
And they've taken everything away from G2 in that round. I mean, Shox has money, Kenny's going to have a rifle, everyone else going to be probably on a FAMAS or SMGs. Or just upgraded pistols. This was great from Krizen, and again, I mean, this is AVANGAR not even running executes. I mean, they've done a lot of contact plays. They've been very slow pace, and they've changed the speed of individuals, not necessarily as a team, but you saw Buster just on his own walking up highway and able to get that pick onto Kenny. So, yeah, G2 just getting worked. And even in their wins, they've never been able to eliminate the whole team. And yeah, another timeout. You can see the coach talking things through, trying to give them one last little bit of motivation. They need these last 2 rounds. If they don't get to 5, you have to imagine there's not going to be a great chance to come back in that second half. Still possible, obviously.
Is this their last timeout? I thought they'd already called 3.
Yes, they have 1 more, I believe.
Okay. So already burnt through a whole bunch of them.
Yep, 1 more for G2.
So it was AVANGAR called 1 as well. That's kind of what threw me off a little bit. They called 1, I think, when they were in the midst of all their round wins. That being said, though, as he said, G2 have gone in for another force.
What else can you do at this point? You just desperately need more rounds. M4 on Kenny, or on Shox. Shox getting spammed. It's not too bad, just down to 82 HP.
Desperately seeking around. They did get one off the back of Shox and his double kill. Double spray, I guess you could say, with the CZ. So we know that he's still going to be a bit of an issue, a bit of a nuisance. This time he's got the AUG. Aggressive plays on the short side of B. Shox and Lucky are there. But AVANGAR again taking their sweet time, just systematically taking connector, bathroom. Although Buster has decided against that, which could be for the best because Jax is not too far away from him.
The reactions of Buster would have had to snap over if Jax went for a peek. Jax hears him falling back. Ooh, Shox sees one. Oh, he gives up his position just too early. Now some spam coming through behind him, but he can't even win that battle. That's one of the rifles. They needed that to be productive. They needed a kill. Lucky's the only one here, but he's got players coming out of the door. Fitch in the air, Body's going to add one onto it. And now AVANGAR a little bit confused. A nice crossfire set up in the heat of the moment, but there's still only 1 defender. Body's got to hold on a little bit longer. These rotations are coming in on the flank.
Lucky acting as the bait, 25 seconds, Body flashbang pushes through the smoke, taking the initiative with the MP9, but now it's down to Jax and Kenny S. Buster in another clutch. 15 seconds to play with, doesn't have control of the bomb. Does have a Molotov on his smoke and maybe should be thinking about throwing one of those. Instead, gonna fake it out. Only 8 seconds, 5 seconds. He's gotta get this bomb planted right here, right now. He's gonna get the first frag, looking for a second. But intelligently, Jax wants no part of it. He knows there's not enough time for the bomb plant. Just get the hell out of there. G2 have won the round, but it's at the cost of 4 players. Their last buy, again, is gonna be in tatters.
That's not the worst outcome in the world with such a big lead. Obviously, that fake, he was hoping they'd both come through this smoke, but smart play from G2 not to bite on that. Gave him no chance to go back for a replant. But yeah, you're exactly right. Even eliminating 4 players, they can buy up, they can get some rifles, but the utility is going to be real hurt. 1 kid on Kenny S as well. Pretty good round overall. Body did a very nice job. That last play jumping through the smoke seemed a bit wild, but that did buy the time to make sure that the fake couldn't be properly executed. And now, once again, control of stairs. Shox going for that boost again, wants to control water from this position. It's all down to timing. I believe that's Kenny S with the M4. He spots one. That's going to give him the information. That's going to tell his players in the stairwell to be careful. Shox coming up. He wants part of the action. Timing on the Buster is there, but Kenny S goes down. So many players. Now they're going to get pinched. Oh, James, what a great timing on that peak, and Fitch can hold the staircase.
Going out so aggressively to try and capitalize on as many kills as possible, but they walk into the crossfire. And the rest of the round should be history. Lucky and Body, an MP9 and M4 with an incendiary between the two of them. Surely there's no hope here for G2 to pick up a 5th round. The Vanguard have been very good at closing these kind of advantages out. Definitely fancy them to do it once more. The positions aren't even particularly great for G2. They're both on the B side of the map.
You can't even really fault them in this kind of a scenario. 2 on 4, you have 1 Molotov, you have an SMG and an M4, and you just kind of say, I guess we just stay at the same bomb site and hope they come here. Not going to work out for them, as we can see, as AVANGAR slowly moves up towards A. All 4 players getting ready to plant, and that'll leave a pretty desperate retake for G2. This whole half has just been desperate scenarios for G2.
Pretty apt word, I would say, to describe the CT side. Here we go. Lucky's going to be making a move up from the A side. There's Crizzen, though, finding Body. No two-pronged attack. It's going to be very one-dimensional. Lucky's going to have to also potentially push through a smoke. His days are numbered. This half will reach its climax, and the Vanguard 11-4 in the lead on the T half. That's just absolutely ridiculous.
That was suffocating. That half is all AVANGAR, and the 4 round wins that G2 had, they could never string 2 together, and they could never actually eliminate all 5 players of AVANGAR. A really tough situation for G2 to be in. We're going to find out the conclusion of this game when we return from the break. Stay tuned. AVANGAR in the full first half, it was all their offensive, up 11-4 over G2, and that G2 that we just witnessed is a shadow of their former selves. You did not see anything to write home about. Nobody wanted to step up to the plate, and they just got bulldozed from start to finish. Shox leads the way for G2 at 13-11. where they have a massive deficit to climb themselves out of, and they're switching onto the harder half, quote unquote, on that T side of overpass.
I can't really add anything to that. I mean, they genuinely look like a husk of what we are used to seeing from G2 and these players. Shox has been really the only shining beacon. Kenny S, I can't think of a single play that you'd really stand out and say that was his moment. It's just been a shambolic CT side.
In every sense of the word as well. Tactically, in terms of individual level, this G2 team just doesn't seem like they came to play today. It's showing in the scoreline. 4-11. Obviously, you got to start things out with the pistol round here, but AVANGAR with a chance to close this one out pretty quick and pretty convincingly. Lucky and Jax both with utility, 1 smoke, 1 Molotov, and 4 flashbangs between the two of them. It's going to be towards this B bomb site. Krizen wants the information. He's going to see it with the nades raining over. Plenty of bodies here from AVANGAR, though, to deal some damage. It is going to be a retake, but they would love to get 1 or 2 kills before the bomb gets planted.
Exactly. They did have a firing squad set up, so I like that he actually backed away and didn't want to overextend, but it may not end up mattering. Body and Lucky straight through with their Glocks, and will be dispatching with haste of AVANGAR, leaving it in a 3-on-5 post plan, similar to what we saw in the first half. No kits or nades in play for AVANGAR. So it's going to have to be raw fragging, and G2 seemingly awakening from their slumber. Krizen now has a task ahead of him which he can't fulfill in a 1-on-5, and second pistol will go to G2.
Not bad from G2. Getting into that B bomb site, it was supposed to be a pinch onto that site. The players coming out of the staircase, though, could not really coordinate too well with the players defending at Graffiti. And G2 handles the flank perfectly. They realize there's not a whole lot of pressure actually at the bomb site, so keep your attention over towards sandbags. Surely someone's going to come from there and able to get a couple easy kills. 11-5, and G2 now has a chance on this T side.
Heavy SMG presence, 3 of them in total. Galil and AK to boot. And AVANGAR will be stacking, and here we go with a boost. It's a triple boost over the Graffiti side. Just have a quick check into the tunnels. No one's home.
Shox was just there a moment ago, so just missed that timing. He's fallen very far back, though.
In the meanwhile, G2 are snaking their way up long and bathrooms, taking some control. Krizen is going to miss out on this opportunity, potentially. Shox is back there again. As soon as he sees them, though, he's going to know there's 3 players there. So the call will come to the rest of his team while he just goes kill frenzy onto the B side. Can't find anyone else just yet, but the rest of his team now maneuvering onto the A side of the map. And this round should be coming to a conclusion very shortly. I
like the play from Shox, though, to be aggressive out towards sandbags. See if you can build some confidence for yourself, make some money as well. You had so many economic issues in that first half that this MAC-10 with the bonus money can prop you up just a little bit. Oh, the Zeus is out. James got 1. There goes Jax. Just the MAC-10, though. Not a huge deal. Shox does fall, but again, as you mentioned, a decent amount of SMGs, so you haven't lost the valuable guns yet. Nothing that's going to be able to turn the tides for AVANGAR. They're going to have to upgrade these weapons in the next round. They cannot keep the MAC-10s to fight with.
Exactly. If they do hold on to the MAC-10, it's not really going to do anything against armor. On the G2 side, who of course are going to be upgrading to head armor anyway against CTs. You have to. So 11-6. Will allow James to keep the MAC-10, P250 in the hands of Kukert, but G2 back on track. I'm not going to begin to believe, though, until they win this first rifle round. If they do pick this one up, then I'm going to start to believe in the G2 hype again.
Maybe they just sandbagged us through that first half. They're like, we got them right where we want them. 4-11, they're super confident, they're feeling good. Now we can just steamroll them, shock the world.
Well, here is the buy. Distinct lack of utility and no kits.
Meanwhile, while this goes on, the other French team still in contention, Vitality, plays this very same map against Vega Squadron and wins 16-1. So G2 trying to match the performance of their Frenchmen, certainly not in the scoreline, but at least in a victory.
That is surprising considering how poor Vitality looked yesterday in parts.
I think both of these, G2 and Vitality, have to be much better than what we saw to them yesterday.
Sure.
That seemed like a pretty poor showing from both squads on day one, and obviously a chance to talk it over overnight. And this is, I mean, remember as well, this is a 1-on-1 matchup, so neither of these teams is going to be eliminated or move on through this match.
1 minute left. G2 certainly a bit more rapid than we saw their counterparts on the T side at this early stage. Flirting on long side. Jame and Fitch have both ate some damage. There's a slight gap in the smoke, but it has just started to fade away, so Fitch playing a bit more safe. This smoke's completely taken his vision away from him, though. It's a bit of a stalemate long until this smoke clears.
Did they just drop a smoke at Fitch's feet?
They did, yeah.
Instead of a Molotov that they could have used to force him out. Either way, it denies his vision, but he's still going to be able to come out of that. He's going to have all the information. Yeah, there's the first, but no one's checked that. Lucky is holding on to it. A nice hit from G2. Still a chance, though. 2 on 3. And here's, at the bomb site. That's a must-need kill from Jamie. He's going to get the no-scope. It does damage, but it doesn't complete the kill, and Buster's got a job to do. He's got Lucky very low, who's just got to stay in the bomb site. Shocks to support.
He has no idea where Shock currently is, though. And there now he's found out. The worst possible way, with a bullet put between his eyes. And G2 will pick up another one. But I've got to say, Jame there is probably gutted with himself for missing that first shot. It looked like a gimme, and that could have definitely changed the tide of that round.
Yeah, he probably hits that more than he misses it, doesn't he? That one's going to hurt, but really well done from G2 once the call comes in to actually execute onto that bomb site. Both these teams have played some pretty passive defensive so far. Like the T side is able to pretty much walk up long the entire way without any kind of contact, and maybe that changes later on when there's a bit more utility, a bit more money for the CT side, but this is the start G2 needed in this second half. This lead can disappear very, very quickly. One more gun round win for G2, and they'll be right there in contention again.
That's just how cruel the CT side is, economically speaking, which of course G2 know all about because they couldn't string more than one round together.
Yeah.
They were constantly in a perpetual state of financial turmoil. And this time out for AVANGAR, discussing a few things. Of course, they could get a few pistols here, but in terms of a heavy investment, definitely would not be the ideal play. Is a Molotov picked up for Krisen? Maybe a couple Deagles thrown in the mix just for a little bit of firepower?
Yeah, why not? We've seen the Deagles do some crazy things. Especially with, I feel like, especially with teams coming out of the, you know, the CIS region, the Deagles is always a very lovely weapon for them. This would be so impressive if G2's able to make this comeback, because you have to think mentally they didn't have a whole lot to be happy about in that first half, right? Like there's nothing that they could have said, you know, at least this was working. At least this guy's on fire. At least, you know, we're able to make this happen. There's absolutely nothing to be happy about. And a long road to make the comeback a reality.
The only thing I can think of is that Shox was playing pretty decent, but apart from that...
He had like a decent number of kills, right? But it didn't feel like any of them were having like super big impact. Now on this side, he's up to 16. He's got 3 in the second half so far. You also have Lucky at 11 and Kenny at 10, so things are starting to look a little bit better.
He's also the top ADR by 20 on either side at 104. Nearest players are Q-Kurt and Buster with 84. Nearest player on his team, actually, having a look, is 69 for Kenny, so there's quite a
disparity.
Yeah, between the two of them.
Yep.
So we do have a 5-7 picked up. Oh, that's been reverted. Just as I say that, it disappeared off my screen.
Fooled you.
Perhaps the reason why it's being a little bit delayed in terms of the timeout here.
They can go for a pretty, you know, a decent-sized investment on the AVANGAR side if they'd like. They can get, you know, light armor, upgraded pistol with that losing bonus. If, you know, it's at 3 rounds now, it'd be 4 in the next one if they don't win this. But you can have some element of danger on this defensive side if you'd like to go that route. Freeze time winding down as the timeout ends. I said they could do a little bit of an investment, and James actually going to one-up that a little bit. Goes for the Scout. Now that is the AWPer as well. That's really going to limit his purchase in the next round, which is when they'll want to bring some rifles out. So pretty interesting decision there. We'll see what he can do with it. He's going to be aggressive. He wants to get that cheeky little headshot right here towards the staircase. Maybe towards playground. He's, oh, that timing. The opportunity was there, but he didn't stick around long enough to seize it.
So Quicker actually did end up going for the 5-7 in armor, putting him down to 1400, as you say, James 1300. And a bit of a close call to start things off. We'll see Fitch going aggressive through the tunnels, but unfortunately that's into the arms of Kenny S, who will not miss out on that opportunity. And now G2. You
should almost just save at this point if you're AVANGAR. You can upgrade that armor on Kaikert into full armor for free if you'd like to go that route. Crizin has some utility that he wouldn't have to rebuy, and that scout, it can be used if James is feeling frisky.
Yeah, I'd assume they just go for the save with a bit of Kevlar as well, and a Deagle. If they stack together and a couple of terrorists push them, can maybe take some AKs out the round.
I think bonus. The save calls come out so early that G2's not even going to go for it. It's not worth the risk, because you know if they've called a save, like right when you take that bomb site, you had that initial contact and now you have nothing. So you know they've just gone to the other side of the map and grouped up. There's no point in chasing down the weapons, especially if it's, you know, things like a 5-7, a scout. You're not too worried about that. You'd actually almost prefer them to have that scout in the next round, right?
Because there is 4.7k for James at this point, so I'm curious what he goes for. If he just drops the scout and maybe upgrades to something else.
Buster's going to drop him in AWP, and James is going to trade him back for an M4. So the scout just gets thrown to the side. Puts their money in a bit of a scary situation if they were to lose this one. 350 is the most money on any of them, but the other four are all at 100 or less. And this is the round, this is exactly what G2 wants, this round right here. And then you can start to forget about the first half. It won't matter any longer because you'll be virtually tied up down the stretch of this map with a great opportunity to take the lead. And that's all you could really ask for if you're G2. Contact play through Monster, one player over towards bathrooms, Crizin. Gonna drop a smoke, Molotov's gonna come out. Even Smoke is gonna give him the cover he needs, but they are spamming it. Oh, and how is he gonna get away? I don't know how he's alive. 25 health. And he can actually use these smokes in a clever fashion to try and do something tricky. Even a nade bringing him down to 10.
You'd think he's not long for this world, especially once those smokes start to clear. Body's already perched up on the barrels, doing so much damage across the heaven. And now Fitch is going to join his brethren on the B side and put down the pain. Molotov is going to force Kenny out into the open. And somehow, someway, AVANGAR have made this work. Not only that, but they haven't even lost a player yet. This is a miracle that no one's died.
Someone on G2 in that round needed to find their balls and get through that smoke and be the aggressor. The most aggression you had was Body on those toxic barrels, trying to get a cheesy kill over the smoke. But they just got stopped cold. That was the hit they wanted to take. Contact play, they had 4 players there, one on the other side of the map, and they just never actually progressed into the bomb site. Crizin tanks so much damage for AVANGAR and somehow stays alive at that pillar.
Yeah, I love to play up until a point where everyone just stopped still and didn't keep pushing.
Where people just didn't do anything.
Because I feel like they made the call thinking, okay, they probably don't have much utility, we can force our way out Monster and just overwhelm them. And they got halfway through the plan, and they got indecisive and just stalled out and died. They
had AVANGAR in a really uncomfortable position for the longest time. Players trying to find some kind of safety, not even really having the idea of fighting back. They were just trying to get behind some cover. And that's where G2 needed to pounce. Once those smoke starts clearing and G2 backs off that ramp, that's when they get to use all their counter utility and really kind of take the fight to G2. 12-8. That's a tough round to lose if you're G2 because you had them on the ropes economically.
G2 go from having plentiful money down to a few scraps here and there. $500 for Kenny, $450, Jax under 1,000 for Body. They have got to make this round count. AVANGAR aggressively up long, actually 3 players strong. Jame, Quickert and Fitch all in a triangle, leaving both Buster and Crizin on B. This could be a little bit sketchy though, if G2 were to push the envelope again on the B side quickly.
You gotta be careful with that bomb out towards long, right? If the main force of your attack is at this B bomb site, this is perfect for AVANGAR. This is what they want. There's a stack here. Good opening kill from Buster. Now they've got to swing out. Oh, the bombs drop. This is a disaster. An absolute nightmare for G2. There is no way of recovering in this round. Jax is gonna get spotted. There's an AWP holding the angle. And even though Jay misses the shot, look at his teammates falling back. There's no damage that Jax can deliver from this position. No damage dealt onto AVANGAR quite yet. They had the perfect call on defense for what G2 wanted to do.
Yeah, they desperately need to inflict some kind of financial damage across to the CTs here. Still 40 seconds. Jack's thinking about pop flashing out long for shots to peak. And out he goes, but Fitch, he's not deterred whatsoever. And to make matters worse, Jax has been found and legged. Down to just 32, finished off. And AVANGAR hold the line, and it's flawless.
Oh, they're loving life at the moment. This is so brutal for G2, and in this round, not a whole lot of money to play with on the attacking side. Lucky's got 4,900, and that's the most. Everyone else in the 2,500 range. That bomb on Kenny, who is leading the attack out towards long, that is not what you want, especially with 3 of your teammates over towards the B bomb site.
Especially considering I don't feel like there's any flash preceding the push. It was just a raw, long peek when you have no information.
Kenny, go find us a kill. No, and now running through the Molotov. That's a lot of damage. That's so much damage.
Goodness. Trying to catch AVANGAR unawares, but they're not going to be fooled at all. Fitch and Buster, clean house. And it's only Shocks that can counteract this CZ. And try as he may, his team go 14-8 behind.
That's an unreal amount of damage to take by just running through a Molotov. Everybody. Yeah, I mean, you got to admire it in some sense, but at the same time, you're starting that attack off with half HP, so an easy AVANGAR just had to bring out the mops. Clean it all up. 14-8 in the favor of AVANGAR, and G2 against the ropes now in this game.
No, they're definitely stumbling, and AVANGAR waiting for that KO blow to come in. This is G2 Esports, pardon me, last chance. They're going to have an AWP in the hands of Kenny again, some AK-47s. Here's the hold from Fitch and Buster on the B side. It's all down to this now for G2. They're eyeing up the very real possibility of going 1 and 2 in the group stage. The challenger stage.
And remember, I mean, some of the teams that we have 0 and 2 at the moment that are going to be playing later on today, we've seen some pretty dangerous one when you think, you know, Fnatic's still in there. Greyhound, despite being 0 and 2, has had some impressive performances that they've just fallen short.
Sure. Including that incredible choke, 13-2.
Yeah, that one hurts.
Really should have been theirs, and they played well against Cloud9.
Yep, so there's still some danger, and especially some of the other 1-1 teams that could drop down to 1 and 2 that would meet them. This is sketchy. Contact through Monster. They have some utility. They don't want to use it just yet. Don't want to give this up. Are they going to be prepared for this stack on sandbags? It's just these two defenders, and Buster's going to spot one. There's the opening kill. Now they'll realize what's coming. Shocks finds the kill. Buster cannot get a second. Great openings into the B bomb site. I think Fitch is hoping and praying that he finds one. I don't know if they can go for this. That's convincing from G2. They get in there very, very fast, and they can set up in positions before they even get the bomb planted. It might not even be worth the retake. With this kind of a lead for AVANGAR, the worst decision you can make is going for some kind of ill-advised retake and losing your money. Reinvesting it, eventually getting broken, because if you have to save this late in the game, that's the one thing that can allow G2 and Avenue back into it.
Absolutely. Even though it looks like they've got plenty of money on the CT side, that's going to dwindle very quickly. So just bide your time. Use the buffer of rounds that you currently possess. On the other side, G2 absolutely do not want to chase. They want to hold on to all these guns. So we will reach the 14-9 score with 7 players left alive. Only 3 casualties in this round.
So still a little bit of hope for G2 and all the French fans tuning in.
Yeah, I mean, this half's been pretty decent for them, all things considered, when you think that they ended the first one 11-4 and it was looking like they pretty much already had a foot out of this match. Yeah,
the only time that they really kind of made you scratch your heads in this half was that one play where they just kind of stopped short on that B hit.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem with that was the crucial round that could have let them, you know, tie things up at 11-11, or I think maybe just get to 11-10 off the save that AVANGAR would have been forced into. So now they've got to do it the hard way. 14-9. That is a very nice nade.
Yeah, answering back after Lucky took some shrapnel in playground earlier. So Quicker and Buster both hemorrhaging as G2 once again start to push up on long. This time there's no one there on the tree. We saw an AUG earlier devastate them. I think it was Quicker that was able to land a triple spray. Bathroom control also going their way, but this really is only half the struggle, half the battle. They've still got to get their hands on this side. They still have plenty of time, though, a minute. They have control of the connector, so they could dart down to B if they so choose. Pretty passive defense from AVANGAR.
I'm wondering if AVANGAR is trying to like read this play and get a step ahead, because it looks like, I mean, both players defending that A bomb site were kind of pushed close towards bathroom. And I believe Kaikert has actually rotated over to the B bomb site, so it's just Jame here who's playing it so passively with the op. Maybe they saw something in this round that triggered kind of an idea they had of how G2 would play this map, but here come the smokes. Jame trying to block it, body block it, does just a little bit, but there's not enough of a gap that he wanted. A nice attempt. And again, I don't even know if AVANGAR, because of that rotation, I don't even know if they're going to want to fight for this. They don't have any position. They have no leg to stand on, no leg to get started in this retake. Yeah, they're just going to back away slowly.
An odd round too, because I mean, all 5 players still alive. They completely gave up A as soon as the smokes connected.
And now there's enough money on the T side for Shox to at least get curious and try and take some guns away. It doesn't work. He's only got 500, but he'll be dropped over by a teammate for sure, except if they go chasing too hard and lose too many guns. Kenny, oh, this is the op. You gotta be careful, Kenny. Don't push in there. It's like a horror movie. Don't turn this corner. Oh, the barrel shows Prison. That's a huge missed opportunity. 15-10 for G2, but they're still losing quite a bit here. A couple kills down the stretch. And that op would have been the juicy one. I think Prison must have just been surprised that he just had such a free kill. That sometimes the easiest ones are the hardest. I guess, in a way. I don't know.
That's one of those situations where Kenny gets the sort of reward, but definitely doesn't deserve it. Because I couldn't believe that either. Like, the whole idea was to try and hold on to the guns, really apply as much pressure as possible long term.
1 HP. 1 health. Well, AVANGAR, since they had that big lead at 14-8, they've been playing a pretty conservative style. A couple saves with, you know, a decent amount of manpower left. They've just kind of rotated strategically themselves out of a couple of these rounds. That one for sure, as it seemed like Jame and Kaikert thought that was going to turn into a B hit, and it just doesn't pan out. Still some rounds to play with, so it's not a disaster quite yet, but you'd like to see them start fighting, providing a little bit more resistance.
Yeah, I think we're getting to that stage where constantly pulling back and saving and playing passive just isn't the way forward for AVANGAR. Yeah, they still have a bit of a buffer of rounds, but they're now getting G2 back in this. Their confidence is going to begin to build. They're going to begin to believe they can make this a reality.
They're starting to almost play like the G2 strategy. 1 player at the A bomb site, 4 players towards B. They've just rotated 1 back, and that's a huge opening kill. That's going to be very nice. 3 players at long for G2. I'm trying to listen for information over towards bathrooms. The question is, they've done some contact plays. Do they want to actually do a contact play at A, or are they just going to kind of give it up the game by using utility? AVANGAR still think this is a B hit. These 2 players are posturing like they want to flank down these stairs, and Shox is going to get a freebie. Jame now has a decision to make, but they're going to be in the A bomb site already. This is a really curious round as well. We've seen a couple of these head-scratching rounds tactically in this game so far.
Very odd, considering they actually heard a Molotov land on truck as well. There's no way they didn't hear that. But now the entry back onto the site for AVANGAR. They are now the aggressors. Kenny S is going to shut down Crizin. Before getting plucked out by Jane, who's made a move round on the long side. Now Lucky has caught no man's land, leaving Shox all to do. 1 on 3, bomb planted for him. Going to be able to pierce the first head of Fitch, looking for that second. Lands it, and this is the Shox that we all know and love, but it's not quite enough. Buster is there to shut him down, and AVANGAR will have 5 match points.
He had to overextend in that situation because the bomb not planted in default. Couldn't use the bathrooms as effectively as he would have liked to have stopped that defuse and really toy with the diffuser, so he had to just swing out wide and take it. That's a good win for AVANGAR. And again, just very weird positionings when that bomb gets planted. You don't normally see, you know, bathrooms not all the way cleared out. So Kenny had no idea he was flanking around towards long. Almost got a little bit of a benefit out of that mistake of trying to cheat on the rotation on the flank down that staircase. 15-10 now, AVANGAR, 5 map points to close this one out, move to 2-1. That would set G2 at 1-2.
I believe he said that the Vitality Vegas Squadron game ended in a Vegas Squadron loss, so they would be in the 1-2 bracket as well.
Yes, and we all know Vegas Squadron likes to play spoiler.
So 5 match points. G2 do have enough finances to afford a full buy. So it's not going to be a freebie for AVANGAR. They have to go through a timeout first.
Yeah, they'll be able to get that up on Kenny as well. He's got 6,600. Yeah, plenty of cash on the T side, despite some of those losses earlier. 24 and 11 for Buster. Leads the server. Fitch and Shox are both tied at 21. Kenny's next up for G2 at 13 and 18.
The stat start for me is actually Jax here, 35 ADR, 7 and 20. He was one of their main players on Cash yesterday. He was performing very well, turned both of our heads.
Yeah.
And yet here, he's been a complete silent factor, hasn't really done anything.
That was a very weird first half, though. It didn't seem like anyone from G2 really felt comfortable in any sense. So never, I mean, and you can see it sometimes in some of these young players, especially at the bigger events with the more pressure and the more importance. Without a hot start, it's tough for them to get going in the game.
So I think we've got a bit of a technical issue. Lucky did DC. I think he's reconnecting. He's restarting his PC, we've just been informed. So it shouldn't be too long.
Fresh restart. It's always a good thing. How often do you restart your computer, Vince?
Not very often, actually.
Yeah?
What to say?
You leave it on when you go to sleep?
No. I definitely turn it off when I go to sleep.
Okay.
Definitely. Otherwise, it'll just blow up.
It would explode. Well, a little bit of time here. Time for G2 to stew in it. Thinking of the 5 rounds they're going to play. Shock's likely in his head trying to think of the different ways he wants to approach these rounds and attack this defense. No more mistakes, though, for G2. They can't make any.
Oh, this is it. It's do or die.
They have to be perfect down the stretch and win the next 5.
Absolutely. And even in some of the rounds that they have been picking up, there has been mistakes here and there from both teams.
Oh, yeah.
So to pick 5 up in a row, I can't imagine it's going to happen. Moses, I'd love to be optimistic, but I do feel like this is only going one way. But it looks like we are ready to jump back live into what could be the final round of this 1-on-1 matchup. As we said earlier, it is going to be a full healthy buy for G2.
I'd like to see them take the leash off. I'd like to see some real aggression from this team. Look at AVANGAR again, 4 players towards the B bomb site. They're just calling, you know, bluff after bluff essentially, where they're just saying, we know you're going to have to go back to the B bomb site at some point. Especially since we've stopped you at A a couple times in Buster. 24 kills, he's looking for 25, looks the wrong, oh, he's so fortunate. The timing, not with Shock's body constant play, that's a good trade for Jax. There is one more at Toxic Barrels, and Buster still alive, still doing work. He's got his 25th, and he's holding on just narrowly to sandbags.
G2 need a hero right now, player under the caution, make it 2. Shox has been obliterated. Kenny and Lucky with the weight of the world on their shoulders. Lucky is going to get the spray through the smoke, nearly able to spin around for a 3rd, but the damage was already done. AVANGAR with 5 match points have converted on their first time of asking.
A very slow-paced game. It almost felt like a cerebral game to a certain degree, and AVANGAR's going to come out on top. A flat first half sends G2 down to 1 and 2 in the main.